Up, nerds? How's everybody doing today? Okay, so this lecture is actually going out to first and fifth hour today. First hour, I know I told you I'd let you skip on the ed puzzle, but I lied to you. Sometimes it be like that. All right. So I'm gonna try to keep this short, guys. There is an ed puzzle associated with this. If you guys in my first hour saw it already, you know, a little extra won't hurt you. You guys are gonna be fine. Okay. So yeah, here we go. Okay. So we're really kind of doing this in two parts here. You guys are going to read your chapter on Jacksonian democracy next week. But this is, yeah, this is kind of like the first phase of it, okay? So going up through James Monroe is really the age of Jefferson. And John Quincy Adams is really an aberration. Google that word, okay? Ed puzzle, what's aberration mean? Okay, and then we kind of shift directly into our Jacksonian democracy part of American history. And there's some really interesting questions here, okay? And this is something that a couple questions I want you guys to consider. All right, first off, did Andrew Jackson establish a real democracy? Okay, so what does real mean? Or is this just a new idea of democracy, okay? And here's the other thing I want you guys to consider. All right, is there such a thing as too much democracy? Okay, Aristotle certainly thought so. Go back to Plato's Republic, and he talks about that. Okay, so I want you guys to consider that as we're moving forward in American history is what is too much democracy? Do we have too much democracy now, or do we have too little democracy now? These are important questions, and always trying to apply this history to your everyday life, okay, which I think that we'll see a lot of this with this guy, Andrew Jackson, you know, who I hate to put my personal opinions out there, kind of sucks. All right, he kind of sucks. Okay. All right, but we're going to talk about this guy, Henry Clay, who only sucks slightly less than Andrew Jackson. Okay. Henry Clay is going to become the founder of the Whig Party. Okay, but we're not there yet. We talked about this yesterday in my first hour, that the 18th Congress, okay, this is kind of like the culmination of the era of good feelings. It's really not sustainable having a one-party system. And what you end up having, okay, is when you have just one party, okay, that party is eventually going to fraction, all right? And one of the benefits of having a two-party system is that you have a party in power and an opposition party, okay? With the Democratic Republicans splintering basically into these four warring groups, it's going to cause a lot of chaos, okay? So one of those groups, the National Republicans, led by Henry Clay, it was very much the pro-business wing of the party, okay? And I want you guys, I'm going to put this into the ed puzzle. I didn't even ask this yesterday. I want you guys to look at this picture here. And by looking at this picture, what does it look like, the things that this artist is trying to portray that Henry Clay finds valuable? Okay, so go ahead and look at that. All right, that's in that puzzle. And I keep in mind these things. Okay, so his platform was very much centered on allowing people to have access to the American dream. Okay, and a big part of that is westward expansion. Henry Clay is, someone might correct me on this, from Tennessee, maybe Kentucky, one of those western states. All right, and for the western states, a huge thing for them is internal improvements, because they don't have access to the ocean like all the Atlantic seaboard states do. Okay, so they need a way of getting their farm goods from the farm in Kentucky or Tennessee, wherever Henry Clay's from, and getting it actually to the port so it can go around the world. Okay, another part of this is Bank of the United States. Okay, so this is a newly established Bank of the United States. We had a 20-year charter on that. Okay, it gets renewed, I think, for another 10-year charter under Madison. All right, and then we're getting a brand new one. So I think that this is our second Bank of the United States. Okay, so this is a new one. All right, and that's really important because that is going to keep capital flowing. Okay, remember we talked about capital is the lifeblood of an economy. If that's flowing, things are going well in your economy. People are able to get loans, start businesses, purchase goods, all right? And the cycle of the economy keeps flowing, all right? So the Bank of the United States and the internal improvements are very, very important to maintaining those businesses. He's going to try to get a national road to link Chesapeake and the Trans-Appalachian West, all right? This will ultimately be vetoed, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so the other side, Republicans' opposition to further federal action. States took up cause of canal construction and road building, okay? So again, this is all of these things, all these internal improvements, guys. I want you guys to associate this with this big thing that we have going on at this point, which is manifest destiny, which I'm going to want you guys to define right now, define manifest destiny. All right, the American system. All right, okay, so looking at this, okay, so part of it is the strong banking system, which we already talked about. The protective tariff of 1816. All right, now the idea with the protective tariff is, so I want you guys to think about this in a global context. Okay, at this point, England's Industrial Revolution has been rolling for about 40, 50 years. Okay, so they have they have the Newcomen steam engine. They've got a bunch of things going on there. Their factories are producing goods, cheap goods, out to the rest of the world, and we can't compete with it. Okay, so the high protective tariff, that's intended to take the cheap British goods, has a head start on the Industrial Revolution, and making those goods a little bit more expensive to encourage Americans to buy American goods. Okay, we are still very much, we are a just like a baby in the cradle at this point, where our industry is very vulnerable. It's brand new. All right, and so this protective tariff is designed to kind of protect that infant industry, okay? Because we all know how easy it is to kill infants. Just kidding, okay? All right, just kidding. That was 100% maybe a bad taste joke. All right, this is recorded. All right, maybe I'll edit that out. Yeah. Okay, so networks of roads and canals. Okay, this ultimately gets vetoed by Madison. All right, and what I want you guys to think about, all right, and this is what we talked about yesterday. Okay, these canals, okay, they very much benefit the East. Okay, because it's getting them access to these raw goods that are in the West. All right, and it benefits the West because it allows the West to get their raw goods to the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, think about who it doesn't help. Right, absolutely, it does not help the South. And where's James Madison from? The South, absolutely, Virginia more specifically. Okay, so even though it gets vetoed, Clay very much viewed this as a unifying system. Okay, this was something that was supposed to bring the whole nation together. All right, okay, what we see here, all right, is the very beginning parts of this word that should just be, you should be dreaming about sectionalism. You should be dreaming about it. Okay, because this is the thing that's going on, is that we are becoming increasingly divided as a nation. All right, largely over slavery. Okay, but it's also because we have two completely different economies. Okay, we're a huge nation, and we have an industrial north and an agrarian south that have different policies that are good for different parts of the nation. Protective tariff, very good for the industrial north, very bad for the agrarian south. Okay, so I want you guys to keep that in your mind. For the rest of American history to the present day, tariffs are bad for farmers, because if we put tariffs on other countries, what are other countries going to do? That's right, put tariffs on us. And that means we get trade wars, and that means that the products that the South is trying to ship to the rest of the world are going to become more expensive. Specifically, okay, what crop are they growing? Okay, it comes in little furry balls. Okay, some of you might be wearing it right now. Okay, that product is going to feed the industrial New England. I'm sorry, not New England, England. That textiles is their main industry. Okay, so they're very much not going to benefit from this tariff. Okay, so Henry Clay sees this as being something that's going to unify the nation and try to overcome these sectional differences that are going on between us. Okay, why did they? All right, that's in the ed puzzle. There you go. Boom. All right, second bank of the United States. Okay, this is located in downtown Philadelphia. All right, again, all right, I want you guys to think, and this might even be a question later. Why is it that the South is going to be opposed to this? Why is the South, opposed to this? All right, very pretty picture. All right. Okay, so thing that we need to talk about. All right, John Marshall. Okay, this is very Googleable answer. John Marshall is a member of what party? You got it, the Federalists. Okay, and the Federalists, they go. All right, Hartford Convention, RIP Federalist Party. All right, they've been gone for a few years at this point. But John Marshall is a relic of that, and he is still the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. All right, and due to a very important decision, okay, he has final say on, okay, basically whether a law is constitutional or unconstitutional. And during his tenure, these first 35 years, the main thing that I need you guys to think about with the Supreme Court is this is us parsing out, okay, what are the rights of the states and what are the rights of the federal government? That's going to be main issue here, all right? And the Federalist, John Marshall, is mainly going to side with the, absolutely, he's going to side with the federal government because he's a federalist. Okay. All right. That is going to be something that we're going to see here. All right. And he has that ability to decide that because of what very important 1803 Supreme Court case? Marbury v. Madison. There you go. The Supreme Court. Thanks, Dad. All right. Okay. So here we go. Dartmouth College versus Woodward. Okay. We're going to go through these really quickly, guys. These are in your AMSCO. Okay. But the thing that I'm going to tell you about this one, Dartmouth v. College of Woodward, this is contract law. Okay. This basically says contracts are defended by the Constitution. This is great for business. Okay. However, it allows corporations to kind of escape some public control. Okay. Which we're still going to see in our society today. Okay. So this basically says that contracts, they are almost given sacred status by our U.S. Constitution. States cannot break those contracts. The federal government cannot break those contracts. All right. Okay. So that is very important. No state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. Next one we got here, McCulloch v. Maryland. Okay. So Friday, 5th hour, when you guys come in, you're going to read about this. Okay. So this one is the Bank of the United States. And the one that you need to know about this is this is going to be putting in place the supremacy clause. And it's also going to affirm the argument that Alexander Hamilton makes to Thomas Jefferson for the first Bank of the United States. The fact that it is necessary and proper. Okay, remember that's what we call the elastic clause. Okay, but basically what it says is that states do not have the power to tax federal institutions out of existence. Okay, so you cannot. All right, so think about it this way. The state of Michigan, if they don't like the U.S. Postal Service, they can't put an extra tax on postage, making it impossible for somebody in Michigan to send a letter. Okay, they can't do it. Okay, so that's the thing you need to know about this one. All right, necessary and proper. Yep, supremacy clause. Okay, so guys, we're going to talk the thing you can remember with supremacy clause. All right, marijuana. It's the easiest one to think about. And it's the easiest one to think about for this very reason. In the state of Michigan, recreational marijuana is legal. However, okay, if somebody is going into a medical marijuana dispensary in the state of Michigan that is licensed by the state of Michigan or their local municipality, if the DEA, the department, not the DEA, yeah, the Drug Enforcement Agency, busts in that front door, all right, and they decide they want to arrest everybody in there, they absolutely have the right to do that because the federal law goes above state law. Okay, so here we have it. We've got Constitution, federal law, state law, everything else. Okay, that's how it goes. Okay, so that's the thing we need to know about McCulloch v. Maryland. Ye, we the people. Gibbons v. Ogden. Okay, this is going to be our steamboat one. This comes down to a federal licensing. Okay, and basically this is going to be the Commerce Clause. Okay, so the federal government gave one dude a contract to operate a steamboat on a river that went between New York and another state. New York also gave somebody the same license, and so they went to court with each other, and the court decided, okay, here we go. Do you think that John Marshall, the Federalist, sided with either the federal government or the New York state legislature? Surprise, surprise, surprise. He decides in favor of the United States Congress. They alone have the ability to regulate interstate commerce. Alone, okay? And this is going to keep this in your back pocket, guys, because this is going to come up when we talk about the Civil Rights Unit. Okay, because this is going to be something that's going to allow the federal government to come and desegregate a lot of businesses in the South, because since they have they serve more than just one state. Okay, people from all other states are coming in there. Okay, that is going to be interstate commerce, which gives Congress the right to regulate it. All right. Okay, so here we go. 1819. Okay, so first off, argument over Missouri. Okay, this is going to be the first test of something that is going to be is going to basically happen again and again between now and 1860. All right, where we're going to have a battle over what states have the rights. Okay, what states are going to be admitted into the union. All right, and this is the thing that we're going to talk about is this holy balance. Okay, so. Yeah. Okay. So Jeffersonians, they were ultimately upset that Marshall still had the power of the court. Okay, they saw an opportunity to kind of shift the balance towards themselves, all right, and by admitting Missouri to the Union as a slave state. Okay, this is going to come right around the time of the Panic of 1819. All right, and this is going to actually become a very big criticism of the financial system that is in place. Okay, this is going to be the first time that our increasingly industrialized country is going to basically suffer one of these panics. Okay, and these panics are always caused by over speculation. So this is going to be the first kind of test of it. So it's going to be seen as a criticism of the northern capitalist system. Okay. And it's going to lead to this debate. All right. Yeah, debate over. So this is very important, guys. This is a debate over sectional power. It is not over the morality of slavery, and this is going to be a hard thing for us to wrap our minds around going forward. Really, most of these conversations aren't about the morality of slavery, and there is certainly, obviously, there's people at this time that are questioning the morality of slavery. Not many of them are in the U.S. Congress, though. Okay, even Abraham Lincoln very much believed that you should profit from the sweat of your own brow, that you should be able to have the profit from your own work. However, he's still going to be pretty racist. He's going to have some racist ideas, and those ideas are going to come around, okay, which is going to influence my costume tomorrow. Spoiler. All right, but this is more of an issue about whether or not we should expand slavery and upset the balance of slave versus free, okay? And it also opens Arkansas to slavery out loud everywhere in Louisiana, purchase, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, so moving on. All right, so we're going to get to a compromise of this. All right, so this is the area that we're looking at here. Obviously, the Adams-Onis Treaty gives us this area of Florida, the Florida Purchase Treaty, helped out by Andrew Jackson going ham and just kind of invading Florida without orders. Weirdo. Okay. And we have this whole big area that this question of slavery is still to be decided. Okay. All right. Yeah. Here's a better picture of that. Okay. So this one, my first hour, you guys have a head start on this. Okay. Fifth hour. I want you guys, that puzzle that I want you guys to do on this one is I want you to look at this map. All right. This is 1810. Okay. So this is population density. I want you to think about what is one cause of this. All right, that's question one. And what is one effect of this? That's question two on this map. Okay, so what is a cause and effect? Okay, so why is it that we see this change in population density? And what is an effect that we're going to have? And I want you guys to think about what is the economy going to be based off of in this area where we're seeing increased population density? And how is that industry going to be maintained? Okay, so question one, cause, go. Question two, effect. Yeah, okay. And if you guys got, all right, so one of the causes we obviously have here, guys, is that we have a increased infrastructure that we are kind of gradually building into, okay? Another cause, obviously, okay, 1810 is about 7 years after the Louisiana Purchase, so we're still in the process of exploring it. So this area is becoming more and more tamed. All right, we have seen confrontation with Native Americans here. Cheyenne pointed that out. We had William Henry Harrison, okay, at the Battle of Tippecanoe. He was the governor of Indiana. He's going to defeat Tecumseh and the Prophet in a battle that is going to be kind of one of those early battles against indigenous populations in the West. It's going to give him the nickname of Tippecanoe. All right. So that is definitely a cause that we're seeing here. Another cause that we're going to see, guys, is look at this population density that we have on the eastern seaboard in the South. Okay, and remember this. Okay, that the Southern economy is very much based on the fact that we are going to need to support this with more land. Okay, so they are going to need to expand out farther west to find new fertile soil, to get more land, to make more profit. Okay, so that is definitely a cause as to why we're expanding out in the West. Is that's a necessary thing to support an agrarian society. Is you need land. Okay, an effect that we're going to see, guys, is we're going to see a lot of the slaves, because remember, 1809 or 1808, we banned the slave trade, so we are no longer getting slaves from Africa. Okay, however, okay, if you look at the back of your AMSCO for this chapter, okay, we are going to see that even though we no longer have slaves from Africa, okay, the population is still increasing, okay, because like any population, it geometrically expands. Okay, ask your math teacher about that geometrical expansion of populations. All right, they can explain it better than I can. Okay, but it's, think about basically if you have one bunny, you have two bunnies makes three bunnies makes, 5 bunnies makes 8 bunnies makes 13 bunnies, 13 bunnies makes 21 bunnies. Okay, so that's how it goes. Okay, so this, and I hate to make that comparison between human beings and the expansion, but that's how population growth goes. Okay, and also it was encouraged. All right, so what we're going to see is a lot of these slaves from the eastern seaboard are going to be shipped, are going to be dragged across the country in chains. Okay, to the western parts of the country. They're going to be families are going to be divided. Husbands and wives. Mothers, daughters, and sons are going to be separated from each other as they are being put off into these new farmlands in 1820. Yeah, in here we can kind of see this. I want you guys to go ahead and just give me a reaction. What do we see going on here? I want you to soak this actually. So speaker, okay, occasion, audience, purpose. So for the speaker, do you think that this person is in favor or against slavery? Occasion, what do we see going on? Think of that previous map. Audience, who's this addressed at? And purpose, what are they trying to accomplish with this? Okay, all right, so if you guys got that, the speaker this is definitely coming from an abolitionist cartoon, abolish production, and they are talking about this fact that we are having, look at these people being dragged away in chains, okay, and this is clearly a mother or a father, I can't see the gender. Okay, the slave owner is holding their child very crudely away from them as these people are being marched off into the distance. Notice too that direction is heading west. Okay, and that is going to be very much what we see here is we're seeing just the cruelty of breaking up these families. Okay, so the occasion is expansion of slavery to the western states. Audience is going to be really, it is everybody. Okay, but the North is going to be the ones that are going to be the most outraged by this, and the reason is because they don't see the direct economic gain or the direct economic benefit of slavery. So it's going to be easier for them to have take the moral higher ground because they're not actually profiting from it. Okay. Now we're going to see that there are definitely going to be people in the South that are going to be opposed to it. Sarah and Angelina Grimke are two baller examples of that. If you want a great example of females in power, look up those two sisters. They are sweet. But this is going to be mainly kind of trying to shift that opinion, the popular opinion against slavery, which is changing. Right? The Talmadge Amendment. Talmadge is a member of the House of Representatives, and he is going to try to pass an amendment that is going to say that no slaves being able to brought into Missouri, that emancipation of slave children. All right, it does pass the House, okay, but it fails to pass the Senate. Okay, remember this, and again, keep in mind this. Like the Senate, the House of Representatives is more democratic. Okay, talk about this increased democracy because it is more tapped into the people. Okay, it's directly representing the people, whereas the Senate is kind of like bigger picture. Okay, they're elected by they're put into office by the states, not by people. Okay, so they tend to be more conservative, little c conservative in their actions, so not taking as much rash action. At this time, guys, too, this is the concern is the wealth of the nation is definitely centered in the North. All right, and they fear, okay, because it is definitely more populous because we have more populated cities, city centers, and so the South is very concerned about maintaining the balance of power between the South and the North. Okay, something that again is sectionalism that we're going to see here, and they're going to see the benefit of maintaining the sacred balance. Okay, so 11 free states, 11 slave states. Okay. And this is going to ultimately come into play with the Missouri Compromise. My man, Henry Clay, hereafter known as the Great Compromiser. Okay, Maine is admitted so the compromise is Maine is admitted as a free state. Okay, it's carved out of Massachusetts. It's really weird that Maine is still part of Massachusetts by 1820, but I digress. Okay, Missouri is admitted as a slave state. Okay, but slavery is prohibited above the northern border of Missouri. So that's the 3630 line. Okay, and remember that okay? Because we're going to have the compromise part 2 coming here in 1850, where this number is going to be called into question, okay? And it is going to this is going to actually be, even though it holds off a civil war, is ultimately a setback to national unity, because what it does is by maintaining this balance, okay, we're basically maintaining these two equal powers in our federal government that are kind of clashing with each other, and they're very much going to divide by party lines, okay, until my man's Andrew Jackson. He's not my man's. Not my man's. All right. Okay. So here we go, guys. I want you guys to go ahead and take a. So here we see. This is this sacred balance that we're talking about. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, whatever. It's you guys get the picture. Okay, so it's this balance going on here. Okay, so these are balancing out each other. Okay, we're going to see this, guys, every time that we admit a new state, including Michigan. Okay, we are going to see this happen. Michigan's going to be balanced out by Arkansas. That is our partner to the south. Okay, we were admitted in the same year. Okay, we're going to see the same issue when it comes to Texas. All right, and then if you guys know what states right over here, okay, that's going to be an issue in 1850. Okay, that's where we're going to see this is going to be challenged. Okay, Panic of 1819. All right, so the big thing here, guys, and I want you guys, so over speculation, okay? So speculation is where you are basically, and this is what we do anytime that we have a stock market, okay, guys? All right, so I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to start a business, and my business is going to be selling Tibetan singing bowls, okay? So I'm telling you guys, all right, this is, I want to get you guys in the ground floor of this, okay? So right now, this Tibetan singing bowl is selling for a low price of $10.99, okay? But, all right, and this is my selling point to you guys, all right? Okay, so the selling point is that we are going to, in the future, okay, because Mr. Lloyd's Moment of Zen is so popular, that the price of these is going to explode. Okay, so you guys can get on the ground floor. I'm going to tell you shares of this, $10.99, okay? But in a couple of years, okay, this is going to be worth $20.99, all right? And then you guys are going to be rolling in the dough, okay? All right, okay, little did you know, though, okay, you guys all invest in this at $10.99, all right? But the price of brass, which is made out of, skyrockets because of situations that we cannot possibly foresee. Okay, and basically, this is the price of this plummets. So instead of it being worth $20.99, it's now worth $1.99. Okay, so you guys all just lost off. Okay, on a lot of money. So that's speculation. Okay, we do this with a lot of things. Okay, we do this. If you look at when you talk about when you hear about in the stock market, think about this for next time when they talk about futures. Okay, they're talking about future markets. All right, so that's the prediction of what the value of stocks are going to be in the future. All right, and the problem is when you invest in something, all right, the price goes up and up and up. Okay, but when that price plummets, all those people are basically going to be missing out on that money. Okay, so that's over speculation, and this is something that we're going to see here. All right, okay, and this is mainly in land. Okay, in 1819, okay, the Bank of the United States pushes wildcat banks in the West to, for money owed. Okay, so these wildcat banks, all right, these are just like random banks that are popping up. They're getting loans from the Bank of the United States, and then they are giving out these loans to people who are purchasing land, and then the price of that land plummets. Okay, and then they don't have the money to pay back to their wildcat bank. The wildcat bank doesn't have the money to pay back to the Bank of the United States, and we got a panic on our hands, okay? So this is going to be the issue that we're going to see here. It hits both the cities and the countrysides, and it's going to create a popular opinion against the bank, okay? So here we go, guys. Here we see it's like this hitting the family. Look at everybody looking at this dad. Yeah, Dad, you suck. All right, not mine. We're yours. This dad. All right, okay, and these are the bankers that are coming to collect the money. All right, so here we go, guys. We're going to see this very negative opinion of banks, okay, coming out of this, which is going to play into the Jacksonian democracy. All right, okay, so Republican revival. All right, so the Jeffersonians kind of had they lost their way. Okay, so this is going to kind of go into this this idea of small governments and states' rights and all these different things. Bank of the United States, protective tariffs. These are things that are going to be seen as in opposition to the original ideas of Jefferson. All right, the crisis of 1819, 1820. okay, it kind of increases this, and it causes a return to the original Democratic Republican ideas of small government, little c conservative. Okay, and Martin Van Buren, okay, this dude right here, all right, he's going to lead the way for it from the state of New York, and he's a future president. He comes after our man Jackson, who's going to be the 7th. Martin Van Buren's the 8th. John Quincy Adams the 6th. Okay, but Martin Van Buren's going to be kind of a sub-average president, but he is a great political organizer, and he's basically going to construct a coalition of Northerners and Southerners that are upset about the fact that the Republican Party or the Democratic Republican Party is going towards this more like big government kind of stance. Okay, so he is going to get this coalition of agriculturalists in the South, all right, and the impoverished people in the North, and he's going to kind of bring them together. Okay, so he's going to do something that is very difficult in this time. He's going to bring together Southerners and Northerners under one roof, under this new Democratic Party. Okay, all right, so this is the birth of the Democratic Party. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. The Democrats are the little c conservatives. Yeah, in 1819 they are. Okay, this is going to actually kind of create this two-party system. Okay, that's going to come out of this. Yeah, this is Andrew Jackson. Okay, this is what's going to lead to the Adams-Onis Treaty. Is Jackson's going to be like, hey, they're going to be like, hey, Jackson, stand down, and Jackson's going to be like, nah, dog. All right, he's going to go down here and he's going to, do a lot of different things. Okay, so this is after he goes and he fights the Battle of New Orleans. He's eventually going to, even after the War of 1819 is over, 1812 is over, he's going to be like, you know what? Screw Florida. He's going to go down here and he's going to fight some Seminole Indians. He's going to actually kill a lot of them. He actually adopts a Seminole, I believe he's Seminole, from the Seminole tribe, son, because, he wiped out their family. Yeah, messed up. Complicated figure, Andrew Jackson. All right. So I don't think that you guys get to the corrupt bargain in your chapter of the AMSCO. I think that this is actually going to be in the next one. I'm just looking at this real quickly to double check that. All right, so if I am right, then I will cut this video off. Meow. Yeah. Okay, one thing that I do want to talk about, and we're going to talk about this more in this video that we're going to see that I'm going to post on Thursday. Okay, that's going to be asynchronous for my first hour and for my 5th hour. We're going to talk about the effects of the market on the North and the South. And I know that you guys read about that in the AMSCO. One thing that I want you guys to know is that, and especially a couple of people have been talking about gender roles in their one history. This market revolution is going to be really important because up to this point in American history, when you have the farm, it's like a family business. All right. And yeah, there's men's work and there's women's work, but ultimately they're working together to run this farm. Okay. In the early parts of the 18 teens, 1820s, this is going to be the first time that we're going to see this factory system come into effect. And I'm going to talk about this more on Thursday. But with this factory system, it's going to create this idea of work. All right. So going to work, that is a term that comes up in the 1820s, and that's something that a man does. A man goes to work, and he earns a wage, and then he comes back, and he uses that wage to support his family. A woman stays at home, and she maintains the family, okay? So she's still running the family farm, but that's not seen as work. Okay, so we're going to see this increasing divide of family roles. That's a little preview for next week. All right, I'm sorry, Thursday. And then next week, we're going to talk about this election of 1824. It's going to bring in my man, John Quincy Adams, much maligned by history, but I think a very important president. All right, guys, I hope that this wasn't too long. I hope that it wasn't too arduous. I hope that it was a little entertaining. All right, I like you guys. All right, bye. Or kind of bye. How do I stop this? Get me off this train. Oh, I didn't know that was an option.